Morning, my fellow Martians. Welcome back to another episode of Mixed Martian Arts. As usual, my name is Austin Shaper, and this is a show where we cover the topics of UAP, UFC, and World War III. Now, today, I am going to be doing a UFO episode, and as you can probably see from the title, this is going to be about the report that was just released this morning by NASA on their UFO UAP study. Now, what do you guys think it is? What do you guys think it is that NASA came out to say? Because I had my prediction, one or two episodes ago, and I was spot on. I was almost word for word spot on. So take a guess. I'll take a pause. What do you think it is? Do you think that they're announcing that there's a potential for extraterrestrial life? Do you think that they're saying that there is no signs? What is it that you guys think it is? Hopefully you were with me and you guessed the obvious answer, and that was going to be verbatim. They said there are no signs of extraterrestrial life. They have found zero evidence, and that they want to be transparent with the American people moving forward. I think he specifically said, this representative of NASA, that they represent the American government, and that he brought up the fact that many people don't trust the government currently and think that the government is hiding something in regards to the UFO UAP phenomenon. And he was there to comfort us and tell us there's nothing to worry about because there are no aliens. And while there is some possibility, this is one kind of a scapegoat argument they always use. Well, sure, I believe in this vast universe that the potential for life is out there, but we have no evidence to prove it. Well, that is both predictable and uninteresting. Now, normally, I would not think that this merits a full episode because, as I mentioned, this was rather predictable that NASA was going to come out and say this garbage because it very much relates with the garbage that Arrow is spewing, the garbage that John Kirby and everybody who stands on that podium representing the American government. It's the same trash, time in, over and over. It never changes. There's no signs of extraterrestrial life. And they basically tried to deflect and minimize. And as I mentioned a few episodes back, it cracks me up because when this is brought up by the government, it's always in regards to something like flight safety. They say this is important to the government, and that's why we made Arrow, and that's why we've tasked Arrow with figuring out what this phenomenon is, because there are risks to flight safety. That's what they always lean on. And as I say time and time again, that is comical because while true, I suppose if there's flying entities, craft, whatever you want to relate to them as, whatever's flying around, of course, I suppose it could smash into a jetliner from Spirit Airlines. I suppose that's possible. That is the least of our worries. Why? Because it's obvious that these things are controlled by some sort of intelligent being, entity, technology. They are being intelligently controlled, and thus far, we have not had any problem where you board your plane going to Miami and you smash into a flying saucer or a Tic Tac. That is yet to happen, at least at a wide scale, with the thousands upon hundreds of thousands, potentially millions of sightings. We have not seen one of a passenger airliner or anything smashing into it. Now, we have heard previous reports of military encounters in the past with jets having near collisions, near misses, and so on and so forth. But it's comical because if this is true, this phenomenon, which we know to some degree it is true, now we can argue back and forth and hypothesize and theorize about what it is. Are they aliens? Are they, is it AI? Is it advanced drone technology? Is it an adversary? Go on and on and on and on about what it could be. If it's a real phenomenon, then we got way bigger problems than this being a threat to our air safety. How about the fact that they can turn our nukes on and off, and that there's been countless reports of that? That's not conspiracy. That is 100% a fact. You can hear it from the people who ran the silos themselves. You can hear it right from their mouth. A lot of them have reported on it. A lot of whistleblowers have come out. They mess with our nukes. They fly with impunity through our airspace. It's very obvious that they're being intelligently controlled, and if that's the case, they possess, whoever it is, possesses a technology that could absolutely eviscerate us We haven't even seen the weaponized version of said technology. We've just seen their capabilities in flight, let alone what they could do as far as weaponry goes. God only knows what the reality of that is. So my point being, that's what the government always says, flight safety. And again, we get this generic NASA response today of, yes, it's possible intelligent life is out there because the universe is so vast, but we've yet to uncover any truth, and we're transparent with the American people. The government's not hiding anything. If we get any news, you'll be the first to know. Just like you were the first to know about the Manhattan Project. Oh, wait. Just like you were the first to know about the JFK files. Oh, wait. No, that's not the way it works. The American people are the last to know, and that's if they ever know. As I mentioned, we're going on the JFK stuff for 70-something years. Man, we still don't have the redacted files. So my point is, these guys come out, NASA today, the newest puppet, and there is one interesting aspect of this which I felt was worth covering. By NASA's admission today, the same garbage that Arrow, the new Project Blue Book, is spilling, the same rhetoric, it can eliminate, I think, you guys can give me your take on this, but I believe that by their admission, we can pretty much cross off one of the many possibilities of what is going on with this whole phenomenon, why all of a sudden we're getting blasted with the news, everything from the Mexico aliens, from the congressional hearing, from David Grush, to the Peru aliens, to the Las Vegas alien. However many of those stories you want to say are fake, how many of them are real, I'll leave that up to you. But we're obviously being inundated with a lot of UFO-related news. I think you'd agree with that probably. Why? I see the theories all over the place, especially on my page. People constantly put their theories on there, which is fine. I'm open to hearing theories. I really am. Not an authority, not an expert, open to hearing whatever it is you may think this could be. But what's interesting to me is that a lot of the stuff I hear about David Grush and overall about what these stories are, one, it's a psyop. People say that all the time. It's a psyop. It's a distraction from the Biden stuff, which, man, I don't know. I don't even know what to say about that. This is not a domestic political show, but is, on one hand, yes, do I believe the government uses distractions to hide their own corruption? 100%. You'd have to be a fool to believe that that's not going on. But number two, do you have to reach for aliens for it? Do you have to reach for UFOs? No, I think that there's a lot more scandalous things that the public can bite onto, that you don't have to go to the extremes of admitting extraterrestrial life to cover up your crimes. So the PSYOP thing, I believe we can cross that off into the degree that this is a controlled release. That's what a lot of people say about David Grush. They say, oh, he is, this is what Joe Rogan alluded to several times on his podcast. Oh, he's basically a dummy. He's a fool, and he doesn't know that he is doing the bidding of the government and that they want him to squeal piggy on this. They want him to release this, and that he's basically their spokesman for this controlled, managed disclosure. That's what this is all about. I mean, in fairness, we even saw Chuck Schumer's National Defense Authorization Act. Man, I can never speak this early in the morning. But the NDAA, which is supposed to pass at the end of the year, signed by the president. And in it, you guys probably saw, there's this whole amendment all about non-human intelligence and the recovery and imminent domain of recovered craft and non-Earth materials and bodies, so on and so forth, from private entities, and it mentions non-human intelligence 26 times. So a lot of, and it even mentions the words, to be fair, for the counterpoint for you guys, whoever does believe this is like a managed disclosure or PSYOP. It does say in that bill, proposed legislation, it does say managed public disclosure 2023 or 2024 Act, something along those lines. So it does say that, but I think that it's worth mentioning that if the government was coming out, if they were coming out and they were doing a managed disclosure, and the reason why all this news is starting to surface now is because they want to slowly break the news to us, or they want to use it as a distraction, and so, or maybe they just feel they can't cover it up any longer, and so it's slowly coming out, and now they decided, we might as well get ahead of this. I think things like what NASA said today and what Arrow has said kind of disprove that theory, right? You got to be open-minded here, because think about it. If this was part of a managed disclosure, the organizations that you would have, that you would want to come forward and start to open up the minds of the American public to this possibility, would be Arrow, which is the organization tasked with this, figuring out what this phenomenon is, and two, NASA, obviously, right? the ones looking out into space, that would be the well-known organization that the public would accept the messaging coming from them in regards to the UFO phenomenon. Had they come on their podium today, excuse me, my allergies are horrible today. You would think that once the summer ends, your allergies go away, but for whatever reason, mine are on the up and up, so that's splendid. Forgive me. But when NASA came on the podium today, had they said something like, okay, we did find some potential life form, or we saw, what if it's a microorganism or, bacteria, whatever it is, if they had come out and said anything to the contrary, saying, it is possible, we think we found maybe something, or we found a planet that is possible, we believe its potential to hold life is strong, and we're going to investigate it, anything like that, the American public is going to trust the word of NASA. They are a long-established organization, representative of the American government. Now, are you a fan of NASA or are you not? I am not, I don't think. I mean, there's some good things they do, but at the end of the day, I just don't think any organization is transparent from the government. None of them. NASA, CIA, FBI, Defense Department, none of them. I don't think any of them are honest one bit unless they get caught with something. And, even then they try to minimize what they've done. So had they come out and said that, the public would have bought it, most likely. Same thing with Arrow. Even though Arrow is very new, it's not like NASA that we've known about for decades and decades. It is the organization that they are putting at the forefront of this issue, and the American public is supposed to be able to take their word as credible, right? So for the fact that NASA came out today and basically just spewed the same trash that Arrow's been saying, there's no signs of it at all. For there to be no signs of it means you'd have to discredit every single testimony, every single photograph, every single video, every single account of somebody interacting with or seeing with or documenting an interaction with a being or a UFO or a UAP in the sky, on the ground. There's thousands of reports. And now I can give you the fact that many of them are probably fake. Many of these people might be mentally unwell, hallucinated it, go on and going on and on and on. There's a million reasons why somebody could think this. Maybe they're just interested in it and they want to believe. I get that. You can probably knock out a lot of them. But there's so many credible ones. Commander Fravor, Ryan Graves, David Grush, who, while many people will argue, he's not a credible witness because he didn't see them himself. One, he's admitted he's seen evidence that we're not allowed to be privy to as the American public. Two, he interviewed almost 40 whistleblowers who are high up, credible, with high security clearances in the government, a.k.a. they're not all lying. It would be absolutely crazy to suggest they're all lying, and if you're saying it's a psyop, sure, it's possible, but I think when you see organizations like NASA come out today and say that there is no signs of it, if you're running a psyop, it would probably be a good time to have NASA come out and say the opposite of what they said today. So I believe of all the potential possibilities of what the UAP phenomenon represents, everything from adversarial tech in China and Russia to the beloved Project Bluebeam that I see so many comments about on my pages, to extraterrestrial life, to interdimensional life, to time-traveling futuristic humans, to some sort of entity that is living in another dimension, to another entity that has been living within the earth, that is an ancient civilization. All the different hypotheses that you hear about this, we can cross off, I believe, the managed, controlled government disclosure. According to what David Grush has said, that I believe is also one of the, if not the most credible the most credible whistleblower to come forward thus far regarding this entire issue, he does not believe that's possible at all. He is a professional intelligence officer, and he said if he had been duped at this level with the amount of research and the amount of intelligence gathering that he did over the years before he went public with this, and he got duped, he said there's no reason he should be an intelligence officer because that is literally his job, to be able to discern false from real. And he's clearly very good at his job. You don't get to that high of a position in the government without having done your homework. I guess that's not always true if you look at the president, but my point remains, David Grush, who I think we can take his word for it thus far unless proven otherwise, this is not a managed disclosure. This is not a government psyop. It is possible, in my opinion, probable, that there is warring factions within the government right now, meaning some that want disclosure, some that do not want disclosure for a variety of reasons. Potentially the ones who don't want it to cover their own asses. Potentially they know some aspect of the truth of this phenomenon that they believe would upheave society, would start to domino affect a series of irreversible events that would be regrettable. Maybe the government would lose control. Maybe it would push up the timeline of some sort of direct contact with the public at large and whatever this technology is and whoever represents behind this technology. On the opposite side, And also maybe they think, if it is adversarial tech, I don't believe that is, I don't believe that's what it is at all. But let's just say, devil's advocate, it's adversarial tech. They don't want to come out and discuss that and reveal their hand to the public and basically say that, hey, China and Russia could stomp us whenever they want. On the flip side, you probably have another faction in the government, such as David Grush, individuals who are patriotic and believe that this is a secret they'd have no right to keep, that it's been kept for too long, that bad things happen in secrecy, that transparency is the best route for the American public and for the government, that people have been killed, that this cover-up has gone on for far too long, and that the American people deserve to know whatever the truth of this is. That is my belief. At the end of the day, that is my belief. I'm always open to hearing a counterpoint. I'm not a know-it-all. I'm just somebody who's enthusiastically following this subject because the implications of whatever the truth of it are profound, and I am just so damn curious to see the government lie its ass off time and time again. It only makes me more curious as to what they're hiding. You can see they're gritting through their teeth when they talk about this. You can tell they've been dragged into the light, kicking and screaming, to even make the ARO website and to start the organization. And at the end of the day, it's only made and it's only done to continually discredit the phenomenon and to minimize it and to tell the public, we're taking care of this. Don't worry about it. Watch the Super Bowl. Watch the VMAs. Don't worry about this stuff. We'll handle it. That's what the government wants. They want you to be a nice little consumer and to stop digging into this. And we ain't going to do it, buddy. We ain't going to do it. So I think there's warring factions, open to other counterpoints, but that's what I believe what's going on. And I think that NASA's revelation today only furthers that point, that this is not a managed disclosure. This is not a psyop. Now, when this information does start to come out public in a big way, do I believe the government will weaponize it and then it can, I guess, inadvertently become a psyop in a way? Yeah, I do believe that's possible. I really do believe the government is, it is designed in such a way that it will hide anything it can, and then when it can't hide any longer, it will move on to its next tactic of maybe distraction, minimization, whatever it is, lying, whatever it is. They're going to continually hide from the public. They don't trust us. They believe that we are simpletons and we can't handle the truth. We don't deserve the truth. They are our overlords who are protecting us from the truth, and that we couldn't handle the truth. That's their belief. They're the ones in power, and by revealing the potential reality of a non-human intelligence, whatever that is, maybe it's AI, which I thought is an interesting theory I had never once considered before until I heard it on some sort of podcast the other day, I forget where, but they mentioned this could be AI, crafting these ships. Never thought of that. That would be absolutely amazing. That would be insane. That's like Skynet in a way that Terminator never even envisioned. So that's a fascinating theory. We have to add that onto the list of potential theories as to what this is. But end of the day, don't think this is a psyop. Don't think this is a managed disclosure. I think this is messy. I think that some want it, some don't want it for a variety of reasons, everything from cover-up to fear of the repercussions of it. And there is a lot going on with this. There's a lot developing in the world of the UFO phenomenon. I definitely started my channel at the right time. I talked about this for years in private with buddies, and I just decided, man, this stuff's too fascinating. I got to make a channel about it. I have to start discussing this because I do believe that some sort of ticking time bomb is going on right now. There is an awareness, a consciousness, whatever you want to call it, that something's coming down the pipe. Don't know if it's UAP related, but I do think that the government is being sketchy. I think the government's being sketchy, and that whatever they're hiding, there must be a big reason why they're hiding it. There must be something to the fact that they've covered this up for damn near 100 years now. There is some sort of revelation that maybe it's that they're not at the top of the food chain, and that they're afraid that if we learn that, we're not going to participate in the consumer economy anymore. We're not going to be the good little worker bees that we're meant to be, or that the government's not going to be able to stop whatever. Whatever this is, should it move against us in some sort of big way, whether that be some sort of like invasion from Independence Day or some sort of manipulation of our governments or whatever it could be, the government feels powerless to be able to stop it, or maybe they just don't even understand the phenomenon themselves. Maybe they've been studying this in secrecy for damn near 100 years, and they still don't even know a fraction of what they feel they should know, and to reveal that to the public is to open up the floodgates to all kinds of bad things that they do not want us to know about. So, interesting times. At the end of the day, NASA, garbage, ARO, garbage. I don't mean to be offensive. I could be wrong. I always could be wrong, and I have been wrong in the past, and I'm sure I'll be wrong in the future, but I don't believe that any organization that does not address the credible witnesses in the military and the government, if you want to disregard all the ones in the public, I think that's idiotic. But to play their game for a moment, let's discredit all the public's eyewitness testimony in the history of time, and let's just rely on government employees and military of both high rank and high classification ranking, only credible ones that we trust to run the government. There's thousands of them who've reported this too. And so for NASA and AARO to come out and say these kind of broad brush statements and then dismiss all of the credible reports from the people in their own organizations is so absurd that I could make a 100-hour-long episode about it, going through each and every testimony and how absolutely insane it is that the government doesn't want to address it. So we keep rolling down the tracks, guys. To what? I don't know. Are we going to get a disclosure? I guess it depends on which faction within this government wins this war. The more we talk about this, I suppose the more it keeps it in the forefront of the public's mind and the political theater's mind, and that's how we got this potential NDAA bill to be passed, is because the public's demanding it. We're fed up with the lies. At the end of the day, I guess it really depends on who wins the war of the disclosure. Is it going to be the faction that's kept this under wraps for 100 years, or is it going to be the ones like David Grush who will try to be patriotic and let the public know whatever the truth of this is? Time will tell. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I really love doing the show. I cover 3 topics, as I mentioned at the beginning: UAP, UFC, and World War III. If you guys enjoy this type of content, do me a favor, just click subscribe. Please do it. It would be very helpful to me. I love doing these videos, and it's a free and easy way to support me. I want to get to 1,000 subscribers so I can go live with you guys and we can talk back and forth. If you guys are listening to the podcast only, like Spotify, podcast only, audio only on podcast platforms such as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, so on and so forth, click follow, leave me a 5-star review. And lastly, if you guys want to be part of the conversation with me and others from all over the place and discuss these topics, ask questions, share our experiences, our beliefs, our theories, share the news, all those good things. We got 3 subgroups on Discord in the Mixed Martial Arts group. You can find the link in the description to this video. We're going to be doing fun things as it grows. It's quite small right now, but over time it will grow. We're going to be playing games together, watching the UFC fights, doing little live hangouts where we get to talk back and forth, doing merch giveaways, all kinds of cool stuff. So if you'd like to be a part of that, link is in the description. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We'll be back with another episode, I believe, maybe even today or tomorrow, because I do want to do a part 2 on the Mexican alien bodies. There's some recent developments that I think are worth sharing, and we'll be back with another episode shortly. Hope you guys have a great day. Take it easy.